Hello, good afternoon everyone, and thanks very much for this opportunity to be with you. In the exchange on the preparation for this panel, the question that was put forward to us by the organizers was, firstly, what are the advantages of multi-partner trust funds and multi-stakeholder financing approaches compared to bilateral arrangements when it comes to financing social protection? That's a great question. I'm glad you brought it forward, and it's something that we've worked on very closely with the ILO social protection team and with agencies across the UN family and beyond on this issue. Three quick dimensions of what the key comparative advantages are of multi-partner trust funds in this space. First of all, they allow for governments to access a wide range of expertise and resources of the UN family and beyond through a single instrument and a single approach. So right off the bat, that helps with synergies, that helps with transactions and coherence in an approach to financing social protection. Secondly, the multi-stakeholder financing approaches allow for a more integrated response substantively. So not only does it allow for a wider range of actors in an efficient manner, but it allows for a substantively more integrated policy response as you're looking at different dimensions of social protection within the range of needs and services that a government might request from the UN system and beyond. Thirdly, I would say that one of the key advantages of multi-partner trust funds in this area of social protection financing is that they allow for more flexibility and therefore more innovation and risk management when it comes to financing. So when you're in a more constrained or more narrow bilateral partnership for a particular project or a particular intervention, the risk management paradigm of that financing is more specifically aligned to that program or approach. Whereas if you have a financing instrument that is more multi-stakeholder, a wider range of coverage and partnerships, that means what goes along with it is more space for innovation, more space for testing, and more space for risk management. So those are some of the key advantages and comparative advantages of multi-stakeholder trust funds in this space. They complement well other bilateral approaches. It's not only that this would be the financing arrangement. Of course, there's many forms to complement national budget resources for social protection, but they're a particularly advantageous one for those three reasons. The second question was, what is the potential and the role for the private sector financing in relation to multi-partner trust funds and social protection? And here, it's a great question again, because it's a newer area of work in the UN family in partnership with the private sector, particularly in social protection. I know there's a global business network that ILO leads. I know there's been a lot of engagement through the Global SDG Fund that my colleague Lisa Courbiel will have spoken about, I think, in the previous panel. And we've seen a step up in private sector engagement through that facility. And just in this last round of call for proposals for financing through that fund on social protection, we saw 41 different private sector entities engaged in the bids from country level on that fund, and in 36 different countries across the globe. And that's a real step change in the engagement of the private sector, both in social protection and through the multi-stakeholder financing approach. So what are some of the ways that we see this coming up? Again, I would say three ways that this is playing out, the private sector engagement in social protection financing and in multi-stakeholder trust funds. Firstly is through a kind of blending approach, a mixing of private and public resources, co-financing at the country level in different areas of work on social protection. And we see that in countries ranging from Indonesia to Somalia to Mongolia. And this is a kind of a win-win because of the blending of both private and public interests. And that depends on the specific area of work in social protection where that plays out. Secondly, there's a partnership shaping up in many countries where the skills training of business in different fields of social protection, whether it be in health insurance or whether it be in employment and employment benefits and training and skills training, that there's really a win-win with business and governments and the UN family in strengthening the partnership of private and public actors in the social protection schemes. Thirdly, There's a really new and interesting area of work emerging in social protection in the private sector partnership domain, and that is the role of the private sector in risk management, in particular when it comes to climate resilience and protection schemes from shocks in climate and disaster risk reduction high-risk countries. So this we're seeing as a new and emerging area of partnership on the ground, and certainly given the agenda that we are seeing worldwide with a higher risk for climate and climate-related natural disasters, and therefore the protection schemes associated with them. It's something we would like to help promote through the Joint Fund and through other financing mechanisms much more in the future. Thank you. I hope that covers the main response to the questions you've asked, and good luck with the rest of the panel. Thank you again for the opportunity.